So all this is to say, I do, and so this is why I say I think there's more than anything. I think it needs to, rather than just saying, hey, let's issue some sanctions on Chinese companies. I think we need to come up with a broader plan, broader policy initiative where we are bringing resources to bear. And I think even some of the policy objectives that we talk about for domestic issues are things where we could say we're going to push these policy initiatives globally. The environment, clearly, we're not going to be able to provide enough solar panels to India for all their energy needs. We can absolutely say, hey, we want to be a part. We want to partner with you. We want to change the policy direction as an open liberal democracy to say, I think we both are very concerned about China.
Do you think that the U.S. is there kind of policy-wise in terms of it almost sounds like the whole a few years ago the CCP was talking about going out into the world, and this is kind of, you're saying like what the U.S. needs to do is go out and like take some leadership and work with these countries. Are we there politically?
I don't think we're there politically, and I think even among a lot of people that I respect that I think consider China a real problem, I don't think there's the readiness yet to embrace, let's say, the broader policies that I'm talking about that require real resources. I think they're like, hey, we need to do something about China. Let's sign a petition. We need to do something about China. Let's sanction this company. I don't think there is politically yet, even among people, again, that I consider, respectable people that I do think are very concerned about China. I think there's still a real willingness among most people to, nibble around the edges without jumping into, yes, this is a problem we need to solve and we need to do something and we need to take a broad-based approach to this. If you look at a lot of the debates, there's still a lot of professors are still debating whether or not China has is trying to influence universities.
Exhibit A.
Why we're even having this debate, I have no idea. Okay, but people are still having that debate, and you see those similar type of nibbling around the edges debate in a lot of areas, rather than we need to get on board with a broad-based policy initiative. We need to bring resources to bear. We need to go out into the world and work with countries and bring resources to bear to challenge China.
Well, it sounds to me like the issue is like a mental barrier. Like it's easy for people to see an authoritarian regime like China as something that needs to be contained or defeated. But the idea that the U.S. itself should act like a superpower, should be a dominant force in the world, should impose its will in some way or another in the world. I think that's a difficult thing for a lot of people to get behind these days. There's like this sort of sense that like the U.S. should be very careful, very hands off, not get out into the world. And, with that vacuum of power, China fills it.
I think, there's a saying in academia that new paradigms are created at funerals. Okay. And I think a very similar type of idea holds even in geopolitics and things like that. If you look at a lot of real geopolitical shifts, there was some event that, for lack of a better term, tipped the scales, and it's like, okay, now we're going in a new direction. And so with China, China hasn't really precipitated an event that changes policy direction, even within the United States, to a significant degree, I think.
I mean, COVID should have.
I think Trump started steering in that new direction, but I don't think he said, we're going to, boom, take everything in a new direction. I think he started steering in that direction. And so I think under the Biden administration, I think they've just kind of like taken their foot off the gas pedal, for lack of a better direction. And so I really do fear to a degree that it would take something like a full-fledged invasion of Taiwan for people to realize what's really taken place. And I hope it doesn't come to that. But I do fear that it would take something like that for a lot of Americans to realize what's really taken place.
I don't know. The Nazis invaded Poland, and that didn't really. Well,
I mean, hey, for the United States, it was the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and so it would be very interesting what, if anything, would really change that, or if China, continues to say, "Wait a minute, if we just don't precipitate anything like that, it's better for us."
well, a lot of interesting things to think about after this podcast. I think it's been very interesting having you on. I liked your thoughts about how we can leverage a bunch of different aspects of American society behind sort of a green investment in Southeast Asia and Africa.
And it's cheaper than the several $1 trillion that, Biden wants to spend on certain things.
One of the things that I think is important here is I think the best ambassadors for America are not necessarily the official ambassadors or politicians, though they absolutely play a role. I think it's getting Americans out into the world. And I think it is working with other countries, the people that will be, the Americans, businessmen that will go live in countries and help build up businesses in countries. And, people like myself that were professors in those countries and things like that. And I think, that's the strength. America has a real strength of the people that go and work with countries, and the entire environment of our country. I think I'm very proud of, and so I think if we can leverage that and say what can we do to help you as a country, and we share common concerns about China. What can we do to help you? I think that's the real real cultural attractiveness of the American ideal.
Mm.
Oh, that's very well said. Nice note to end the podcast on. Yes, we can. Yes, we can make America great and build back better.
Wow, Chris.
You should be the ambassador that goes out into the world.
They'll love me. All right, Chris. Thanks again for joining us today.
Not a problem, guys. Hey, appreciate it as always.
Yeah, that was a very interesting interview. It reminds me of the old saying, looting and polluting is not the way. Hear how Captain Planet plans to fight the CCP.
It didn't rhyme.
It's not true if it doesn't rhyme, Chris.
Oh, this is why it's China Unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
If I had scripted that, it probably would have been better.
Yeah, maybe.
Or I just would have written what I said and then hoped you would have fixed it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, then I would have fixed it in the script.
Okay, so fix it now.
No.
Okay. Thanks for watching China Unscripted. I'm Chris Chappell.
Was that it?
Do we have anything else we want to say? I guess I didn't give either of you an opportunity to share your
I have
thoughts.
nothing else I want to say.
One thing I did think was interesting about what Chris Paulding suggested was it is instead of trying to punish the CCP for doing what it's doing, it's trying to essentially take a positive action in the world.
Reward good behavior.
Or, I mean, I think you kind of have
That's
to
different.
do both things. Like you have to provide an alternative and you have to also sanction
Tighten the screws on the CCP so it has less room to operate while ingratiating yourself with countries around the world.
But we've talked about this problem where like there are a lot of countries that there's no other choice for them but to work with the, you know.
I mean, often the CCP goes to dictators who don't want to have to deal with investment from the West that also requires political reform. But that's not the entire situation. A lot of it is we talked about the Solomon Islands recently. It's
right.
The U.S. doesn't even have an embassy there. It's there's an opening for the U.S. to operate in, but
we're not doing it.
We're not doing it, and so then the option is China.
Pretty much. So yeah, I thought that was interesting that the idea is to go out and do something in the world.
Go forth, young man. Wasn't that from something?
I think you're thinking go west, young man.
Oh yeah. Manifest destiny.
Yeah.
Am I advocating manifest destiny?
Let's not do that.
Okay. Well, it's basically done already.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is basically bits of American history that you learned in high school
just swimming around.
Yeah, like bubbling to the top suddenly.
I won't let China.
Young man.
I won't let China tax my stamps.
There you go.
I'm so glad we got these extra thoughts in.
I thought I made a good point.
You did.
Thanks, Shelley.